What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's Ars. Let's get productive. So, I'm really excited about 2023 so far. It's been amazing with all of the really dope products that have been coming to the forefront. Some of our favorite companies have been releasing back-to-back products, and it's seeming like early stages, a lot of these products that have been coming out are really good. Like, it's not a lot of like lazy work from lazy companies coming out in 2023. One of my favorite companies, Yum Audio, just released a new plugin. I like to say their style is really like creativity and functionality, stuff that really works well meets nuance and just bravado, because a lot of their style and design is just really in your face. All of that to say, they just released their newest plugin, the Grater plugin. Now, the Grater plugin is a compressor with a twist. It's kind of like distortion meets compression. It pushes your audio forward. It gives your sound compression, but it does so with a distorted edge. So it helps you get a really in your face, really saturated sound out of whatever audio signal you're using it on. So without wasting any more time, let's see what this thing is all about. Yum Audio, the Grater, let's check it out. So, as always, I have Logic queued up, and this is the Grater. Now, right off the bat, I'm loving their UI design, really creative, but when it comes to Yum Audio, that's nothing new. That's not even anything special at this point. They always come up with really cool creative designs. Their UI designs are usually heavily saturated with really cool aesthetics, and it's high resolution sharpness, and I love their aesthetic when it comes to the UI design. Now, like I said earlier, this thing is a compressor, but with a distortion edge to it. So it's gonna really push your audio forward, and it can give you a bit of subtle saturation, but it can also just mangle your sound, push it forward, but just scratch and mangle the hell out of it. Hence, the Grater, like a cheese grater, is gonna send your sound through the Grater. And that's what you're doing when you send your sound through this thing. So if you head over to the website and you check this thing out, I honestly feel like it's actually priced very reasonably. Now, I've been using this thing for a little bit, so I can actually say that with confidence that what this thing gives you, $75 at the launch offer, and you know, a 14-day free trial, is super generous for what this thing allows you to do. As you can see, like I said earlier, the UI design is very clean. This feels like if the Ninja Turtles created a plugin in the sewer and they only used sewer things, like they only used the metal from the pipes in the sewers and all of that stuff. If the show Ninja Turtles, let's start from there. If the show Ninja Turtles had a section of it where like Donatello decided he wanted to make music and start making beats, and he started making beats and he built his own plugin, it would look like this. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a slight on the design, because I like Ninja Turtles. I think Ninja Turtles are dope. If you look right here in the center, this main panel right here in the front, this lever that's right here in the middle that says, underneath it says 50%, this is your main lever. Now, this is where you're gonna be able to punch up the compression towards your audio signal or drag it back. This is the main lever that's gonna help you do that. So regardless of what you do inside of this plugin, you'll be able to adjust how aggressive you want the plugin to process your audio signal through the compression via this lever right here that you can push up or drag all the way back down. And you'll notice right underneath here in the percentage, it gives you a percentage of, you know, the incremental values that are changing. Over here on the side, you'll see that you have something here that says Breakup, and on the right side, you'll see you have something over here that says Sharpness. Now, when you send your audio signal through this thing, the sharpness knob kind of operates as your attack and release. Now, because this thing is a compressor that combines distortion at a lower value with the sharpness knob, it's going to grab your audio signal quicker, and it's going to add that compression to your audio signal a lot quicker. And at a higher value, it's going to give your audio signal a second to breathe before it throws that compression on. But because this thing is a bit of a distortion compression plugin, that knob really matters, because it's the difference between if you really want to completely mangle your sound and have that compression and distortion hit right away as soon as the audio signal hits this plugin, or you want to allow a little bit of the dynamics from your original audio signal to breathe a little bit before that compression hits it. So this sharpness knob right here is going to allow you to make adjustments to that value. Breakup is going to do what it sounds like. It's going to break up your audio signal. So it's going to kind of give you that effect as if your speaker is dying and it's kind of popping in and out. You have 3 different settings. You have a smooth setting, a neutral setting, and you have a heavy setting. And this is just going to tell the plugin how aggressive you want breakup to be on your audio signal. If you go over here on the left, you have your compression input, and over here on the right, you have your compression output. Pretty straightforward, standard stuff. Now under here, things get really cool. Reso burst, this panel right here that says Reso burst. Reso burst is a resonant bandpass filter. At different frequencies, you're gonna be able to add or take away like line signal sounds and different kind of frequency altering distortions. You'll be able to add that with the Reso burst. And over here you have a switch that you could turn on and off. Now, pre-tonality acts as a unique filter EQ. It's kind of like your standard EQ settings and other compressors that you may have seen. But again, because this compressor adds a bit of distortion to your sound, you can get really creative with how you use your low filter and your mid and your highs in conjunction with the amount of input that you're sending into the Grater plugin and adjusting your main lever right here. You can really distort the different frequencies of your sound by toggling between your compression input, your Grater main lever right here, and playing around with these mids and these highs and these lows right here in the pre-tonality tab. You can really carve out your sound and do some interesting distortions to that sound really unique. So that's something to keep in mind when you're playing around with pre-tonality. Also, you know, make some adjustments to your input and that main lever here in the middle, and you're gonna notice how toggling between those 3 things, your sound is gonna change drastically. Slice up, this little tag right here, the slice up control adds a clipping effect. Right down here where you see dynamic re-inject, this is where you can save some of the dynamics to your sound. Now, I know when you approach this thing, your initial thought is gonna be to go hard and just really play around with this thing and see how aggressively you can distort your sound. And that's where the fun is, and also where the uniqueness is. That's where you're gonna be able to really take an average sound and take it to a new level and make it something completely different. But sometimes when we do that, there are certain things about the dynamics of the original audio signal that we miss. That, you know, it might be some echoing or reverb effects that are happening in your original audio signal that get damaged by how aggressive you pump up the lever in this Grater knob right here. So you might want to re-inject some of the dynamics of your sound back into the output signal. Right here, muffle is basically what it sounds like. After adding all of this distortion and artifacts to your sound, you may notice that the higher frequencies of your sound become really sharp and maybe a little painful to the ear. So you might want to filter some of those frequencies out, and you can do that with the muffle knob. It'll kind of muffle your sound and tame those higher frequencies a little bit. Your master controls is a master mix knob, so you can mix between your dry and wet signal, your original audio signal and the output signal. And you have your gain knob right here. And right over here on the right, you have your bypass switch. So you can bypass the plugin and hear the difference between your original audio signal and what's coming out of the Grater plugin itself. Right up here at the top, you have your section where you can go through your presets, and they have a load of presets in this thing. Like, you got folders with different producers that have different presets loaded up inside of this thing. Everything from adding character to extreme distortion to just adding a little bit of effect to your sound to heavy distortion, parallel compression, subtle compression. So if you just want to add a little bit of subtle saturation and compression to your sound, they have presets that'll go with that really well. And we're going to go through some of the presets in a second. I have a sound queued up and I'll let you hear what that sounds like running through the Grater plugin. But yeah, really cool stuff. You have your presets, and as always, you can save your own presets. Now, where this thing really shines is its uniqueness and what it can provide for your sound. By mixing compression and mixing distortion the way that they do it, they really allow you to take the different frequencies in your audio signal and chop it up and do really interesting things to those different frequencies that'll really provide a nice distortion to your sound, or extremely mangled, destroyed distortion to your sound at different frequencies, and it can sound really, really cool. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through some of the presets, and I'm going to show you what this plugin can do to your sound. So let's just play this real quick. All right, so those were chords. Now I'm going to send this into the plugin, and we're going to go through some of the presets and check out what's happening. So let's check out some of these presets. I'm going to just go through them, and we can hear how the sound changes as I go through the presets. The name of this preset is Sample Burst. So this would probably work really good if you're sampling something and you wanted to push forward in the mix, but you want to take a lot of the bass out of the sound of your sample and just get those higher frequencies to pierce through your mix. This would really work good on something like that. Crazy. And so, yeah, that's some of the presets aside of this thing. Now, what I want to do really quickly is I want to leave this right here on this preset, and I'm going to mess around with some of the settings inside of this thing so we can hear how we can change it from the way this preset sounds right now to something completely different. So I'm going to just play around with this thing so you can just see for yourself how things change once I start messing with it. So this is the sound without the grater on. And this is the sound with the grater on. And like I said, you can use the bypass switch here to really go back and forth between the two signals to kind of gain match a little bit. So this is bypass and I can hear that, and then I can just play it with the plugin on. And get it to say how I want. So yeah, that's me playing around with the grater. Now, what I want to do right now is get right into the cookup. I want to show you guys a beat I made using the grater. Now, this sound that I've been playing around with, this sound is actually in the beat, and this is the sound that I use the grater plugin on. So when you're listening to the beat and you hear this, you know that that's the sound that has the grater plugin on it. So this is the beat I made using the grater. So that's it. That's the beat I made using the grater. Like I said, I love Yum Audio's plugins. They always make really cool creative plugins, and this is one of those ones. I've been having a good time with this thing. Like I said, I've been using it on a lot of lo-fi beats just to really take a lot of the chords that I play in my lo-fi beats, and sometimes I may use a vibraphone or different piano-esque instruments, and I like adding a bit of saturation to those instruments and making them a little bit muffled to make it sit in my lo-fi beats a little bit better. And this thing can really do that while also making it pierce through. Sometimes when you're making lo-fi beats, everything can start to feel a little bit too muffled, and you just want an instrument to sit on top of all of those lower frequencies and sit on top of all of that muffled stuff, but you don't want to add an instrument that's too bright. You kind of want to take one of the lo-fi instruments you already use and push it forward in the mix. This thing is great for that, adding it to one of those instruments you already use just to push it forward in the mix a little bit. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Is the grater something that you think you're going to be checking out? If there's any plugins you'd like to see me review on this channel, leave it down in the comment section below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. As always, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can stay notified anytime I drop a new video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.